Hi folks, welcome to a backwards video on scraping. So if you don't know what scraping is, stay tuned, but it's basically a hand way or power tool way to get things really flat, but also to allow for some pockets for oil. At least that's my layman's understanding of it. In about 2 weeks, I'm headed down to Tifton, Georgia to Keith Rucker's shop, where a bunch of us are all taking the infamous Richard King scraping class. This is a 5-day class where we learn apparently how to scrape from a guy who's apparently very good at doing it. So what is this? This is awesome. This is a 24-inch rough cast 2B parallel. Big shout out, big thanks to Jonathan over at Core Print Patterns. Lower third here, as well as link in the video description. I've gotten to know him through social media and Instagram, and I was talking to him about how can I find a piece of cast iron that I can scrape. I wanted a parallel. Lots of people were sort of saying or pushing me towards what's called like a humpback straight edge. And look, I must be missing something, because I don't understand why I would want something that has one straight and flat edge when this seems to be so much more useful as a long parallel, whether it's tramming in or leveling a machine or literally using it for setups or work offsets. Plus it has that complexity of not just scraping one surface flat, but scraping the other one flat and hopefully, knock on wood, parallel to each other. I was surprised, one, at how heavy this thing really is. Again, Jonathan did some really awesome work, and I'm hoping he's gonna have a video. If he does, I'll have a card to it right here on the analysis of how to create this casting with the right draft stuff, and as well as the right, it's not like, I don't know what it's called. I have to look up my dictionary language and so forth, but basically making sure this thing has a really good stability to it. Our goal is to get this thing roughed in. So you can see it's got pretty rough texture. Jonathan offered to machine these, some rough, square, and flat, and I probably should have taken him up on it. I was thinking I would do it myself, and I was like, I got this new Haas. I don't want cast iron in the Haas. Oh my God, you guys saw from the Keith Rucker video that cast iron it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's a mess. We got a Bridgeport, let's make use of it. We're also gonna use one of my favorite tools, the Superfly with the steel insert. You'll notice I've got it up on some blocks, some ground. They're not actually 1, 2, 3 blocks, but they're close. The thought there is I really just need a couple points of contact, and I could be wrong, but we're gonna learn. A couple points of contact, and this is a pretty rough, especially right now, base. You can see there's a little bit of twist and warp in it. Let's actually see which side is better to start with. God, those things are heavy. I gotta go weigh one. Well, that's worse, that's way worse. Yeah, that's not bad. I just want to cut through the surface, but I do want to get through the whole surface. We're not there yet. Push it down. Close. We'll probably take 5 more here. Probably the roughing pass. We'll come back once more. There could be high spots, so I want to be careful with how much I take on the first pass. But you guys didn't get any of the right handles. I wouldn't actually say I know very well. They're really the handles. This is like CNC again, sort of. So remember how I told you this was like a backwards video on scraping? Well, backwards in more ways than one. Here's the finished product, and this thing kicked my ass. Oh my God. So first of all, look, I went too fast on the RPMs on the Bridgeport, and I can use the excuse that I thought it was slow or that I haven't worked with cast iron a lot, but come on, John, start slow, really slow, work your way up. I should have recognized that sort of glazing, and when we did slow back down to, I think, about 350 RPMs, so much better. So that was the first lesson, but I don't think I would have figured the rest out really on my own. So this piece of cast, and there's no flaw in the casting, this is not faulting Jonathan and Core Print in any way, it had twist in it. So what do I mean by twist? Assume that this popsicle stick was our parallel. What happened is the thing is like this. It is twisted, like a propeller blade. Good news is, when I clamp it on the Bridgeport, we clamp that twist right out of it. We get it flattened right out, then I machine it, then I release the clamps, and the twist comes right back. So I realized this, and I just like, what do I do? It was late night. I actually called Adam Booth. Thank you, Adam. And his suggestions were great, which was basically to shim it. And you kind of build shims up to get a plane face. And once you get one plane that's flat with no twist, then it's easy to flip it and do more work. I ended up phoning in a friend, and the rest of this footage is over at my buddy Paul's shop, Paul D-Bolt Machine. He had a surface grinder big enough to do this, and the advantage of a surface grinder is we can grind one side, not sort of worry about the twist, because the magnet itself will suck that twist out just like our Bridgeport did. And then when we flip it, this is crazy. We can, again, put the magnet on, sucks the twist out of it, grind it, and then start releasing the magnetism. You're relaxing the work holding state, and you grind that out. This worked because I actually did get it to only about maybe 5/1000ths of twist throughout the whole thing, but man, this did not go, this is not a great, well, I was frustrated. So this grinder, the X, is powered by a hydraulic piston or cylinder. We'll try to take a shot underneath it.
See, if you look up underneath,
you can see, it's kind of cool. Literally, it's a hydraulic shaft. So Paul was just saying, cleaner is better. We deburred the top edges, and we think maybe a thou or two run out. I was talking to the fellow that I toured the Starrett factory with last night, actually, who was mentioning don't go less coarse than 46 grit. Like, it doesn't get you a better finish. So there's coarseness. So like I had a note, I think it was from Tom Lipton's video, that 46H is like a great universal wheel. So it's 46 grit, and then H is your hardness. Hardness of a grinding wheel is what, though? I mean, obviously hardness, but
it depends on what you're grinding. How hard a material you're grinding.
Okay.
Because if you've got something that's really hard and you're trying to grind it,
yeah,
it's going to eat the wheel up instead of taking it off your part. So you want to grind off the part and not waste the wheel.
Got it.
Anything you take off the wheel, you want to dress off.
So this is as soft as it comes, right? It's cast iron?
Well, it depends on what, there's several class. There's class 30 and class 40. 40 can be heat treated.
Really?
Yeah.
Hardened?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Right. A lot of lathes are made out of class 40 because they flame harden the ways.
Oh, the induction hardened way.
Right.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they put like a case hardening on there.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. We'll have to ask the fellow over at Corprint what I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, what's cool though is look at how that wheel is way wider than I expected, and Paul was saying we actually can make it in one pass, which is pretty awesome. And is there any rock to it or twist?
Just a little. Just a little. I would say you probably, in worst case scenario, it's maybe it could be out 5 or less.
5 thou or less. Now, when we turn the magnetic chuck on, though, is that gonna pull that twist out?
Down, yeah.
So that's what stinks, is that mag chuck. So what are we gonna shim it?
What we're gonna do is go ahead and let it pull down, and we're gonna grind it.
Yeah.
Okay. Get this side flat, and then we'll flip it, and we'll block it in, and then we'll grind the other side, and then we'll turn the magnetism down to get it flat.
Got it.
Turn it back over and make sure.
Come back to this side.
Parallel to each other.
Okay. Sounds easy.
Trying to make. So we'll come down.
It's awesome though. It's got power feed on your Z, so that's lifting the head up and down. Yeah, so there's your fine adjust on Z right there.
Right here's 10 thousandths of an inch.
Oh, that's awesome.
See right here between here and 4, that's 1/1000th.
So that's more than tenths. Increments.
Yeah, that's right.
Half. Wow, that's awesome.
So.
Yeah, 50 millionths. So Paul, the shop we're in, you can check it out in the video in the link description. Paul specializes in, would you say, model engines?
Yeah.
And it's actually funny, when I first went to Cabin Fever 4 years ago, I was still living in New York, I heard of Paul and knew he was from Zanesville, and introduced himself. He had a beautiful setup, and he's kind of known. He's like one of the guys for making some pretty awesome machined parts, both CNC and manual, all around hobby, model engines, hobby engines, etc. It's pretty cool stuff. Look at how fast it moves. Oh, he's grinding. We're making chips. Wow. So just gently dialing it down. So if you were wondering, like I was, there's a knob at the top as well, but that, if you use it, is actually not anything to do with the Z of the machine. That is a built-in diamond dresser. So the way a grinding wheel works in layman's terms is And the reason it's better than machining is the grinding wheel is self-sharpening. So as you're grinding, it's actually tearing material off the wheel as well, which causes it to expose fresh grit. But every once in a while the wheel loads up, or you just need to get a kind of clean start. So you run the wheel across a diamond, and you can do that by setting a diamond on your table, or in these machines you can use a built-in dresser. Paul was mentioning yesterday that there's a debate about what's more accurate and what's the best way to do it. But one of the many reasons why grinding is, there's a lot to it. It's more than just running your part under a wheel. So we let it spark out for, I mean, probably 3 or 4 minutes, way longer than I thought. Oh, wow, beautiful to me. Where did you see, you said your porosity? Okay, a little nick there. No big deal. God, it's amazing. Beautiful, right? This got me really excited. So in case it wasn't clear, what literally happens is these magnets are powerful enough that to suck this part down, you literally can flatten the part out with a magnet, which sounds cool, except it does you no good, because then when you grind it and take it off, the twist comes right back. So that's basically the same problem I was having with the Bridgeport.
Cast iron's notorious for that problem.
Yeah.
If you got castings like this and you try to force them down flat,
Yeah.
it just comes right back out.
And again, the real high-end machine tool builders, you know, when they do their castings, they'll let them age for a year before they even start grinding, scraping, machining them, because it lets the cast settle, which is crazy that there's such a science to it to me.
So what will happen when you flip them over, you grind them, you start releasing it, even though you're not moving this, you'll see it's grinding. Yeah.
So we're gonna release the magnet, or we're gonna start to reduce the magnetism while it's. Oh my God, that's scary.
And then while you're releasing the magnetism, it starts relaxing.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. Yeah, right. That's the cool thing. So the little grinder I've got now just has.
That's right. You're on or off.
Yeah, right. There's no sensitivity to it.
And that's why a lot of people like to have that set up like that. So and then you can get things extremely flat.
Well, I remember like a year ago we were talking about. I'll put a card to it here. The Suburban Tools video where Don was doing the residual grinding with the chuck, I think almost completely off.
Yeah.
And you got that part crazy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So cool.
The only thing is holding is friction.
Yeah, don't do that at home. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that's tricky for somebody that's an amateur to mess around with.
Right.
I mean, get like they say, professional help if you want to learn how to do that.
No, but it's cool. I mean, I think Suburban Tools they make great products. They've got a great channel, so check that stuff out. They do some pretty cool stuff. When we saw that jig boring machine over Christmas, they actually, I Googled it, and of course, go figure, Don Bailey has a video on a jig boring machine, which was really cool to actually watch and see how that thing runs. Right. Because the only way it's ever going to throw the part is to the left.
Yeah,
because that's the way the wheel's
bad
turning.
enough. It's not like a Blanchard where it's thrown anywhere.
But those things are enclosed, right?
Yeah, but if you open one of them up that's had parts thrown on it, it's got dents in all the sides. They're round. It just throws it everywhere.
It's a tumbler.
Yeah.
I threw one part on my little Tormach grinder once, a little piece of 4140, only about that big, and you know, you had to just take a break, because that was probably one of the scariest metalworking things I've ever done. And there's a huge ding in my Tormach grinder backstop from where that thing hit. I mean, it went off like a bullet.
So you got a magic marker on there. That's one thing you can do just for your own edification. You can take one of those black magic markers.
Yeah. Oh, and get the marker
You
off.
mark it all up, so when you're grinding, you can tell when it's cleaned up. Yeah. I mean, you can put layout stain on there. Some people do, but it's a quick, easy way to do it.
That was the first grinding video I ever did back in New York. Was I tried to grind off the Sharpie without touching the part, which I can't remember what I did, but that was fun. So again, clean, like, yeah.
You can see a little bit of the faculties in the casting in there some. See it here?
Yeah, a little bit of that.
See these little dark spots?
Yep. Yeah. So that's a porosity thing. That's just a hardness, or
Yeah, it could be a hard spot or a soft spot.
interesting.
And that might be what's going on right here. That's a little softer, a little harder right there.
Yeah, that's
I don't
not
know.
like a. It almost
It
looks like a
doesn't hurt
fingerprint.
anything, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So Paul showed me this. This is really cool. This is not magnetic. It's, I believe, an aluminum block, and it's got these steel pins in it. So this isn't magnetic, but what you can see here, it's not magnetic. But when you put this on a magnet, it transfers the magnetism through. So Paul's got a relatively coarse chuck, but of course here's the magnetism spacing. When you put this on it, you'll end up getting a much finer thing, and it's cool too because you got a little, smaller shelf here. So he's got a shelf or a backstop on his big chuck, but that means you got to work all the way back here. Here you can have it work in the middle. Kind of cool. So we're going to go to full magnetism at first?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to bring this down because we don't know how many waves we got in here. This one feels pretty good. This is the better one actually of the two as far as not being as rough.
Okay.
And we'll bring
Oh yeah, this was the slower RPMs
that's
when
right.
yeah.
Yeah, you were closer to the right surface foot on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a little error out here, but that's for the machine, I'm betting.
Yep.
We'll go ahead and grind this one and get it roughed in, and then we'll come back and release them.
Release the magnetism. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You touch it a little bit more. It's not terrible.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's almost like it's a humpback. It's like it's high in the middle.
Yeah, that's right. It would be. Because when you start machining, it releases. I don't know if you've had that experience with coal roll or something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
It'll curl up like a cornflake.
Yep.
And this cast iron's the same way. You got a casting, it's not going to be stable when you cut it.
Well, so really, if I do machine the sides of these things, that's going to totally throw off the parallelism too.
Right. It'll throw it off the other way too.
Okay. Maybe I will keep one rough then.
Well, the whole thing is how much you take off. If you take a little bit off, it'll be a lot more stable.
Okay.
If you take a lot off, you're going to introduce.
Do I need to take off some on one side and then some on the other and go back and forth?
Keep it equal, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Yep. So, oh yeah, so cool. So that's residual. You turn the magnet off,
I
but
turned the magnet off, but see, it's getting a lot flatter, so it's hard to get it off.
that's
of
cool.
there,
It's awesome.
which is good sign.
You can see the grinding dust and debris
That's right.
build up on the poles.
Yeah, see, it's just like mud.
Yeah. So yeah, the coolant, it's kind of cool how these things work. The coolant flows out of the corner of this, and this just stays inside this trough, and then it comes down through a paper filter. There's a scroll of paper inside of here, and that gives you, a fresh, keeps your filter kind of fresh. And I think there was even a float valve here that you said indexes.
Here. I'll show you how it works.
No kidding. Oh, that's so cool.
See, so when it gets plugged up, it just raises that filter up.
So, okay, so when a filter gets plugged, that
Raises this float up.
indexes you through. That's so cool.
It goes through the roll of paper filter whether I want it to or not.
And then the excess, the old
Oh,
filter
yeah.
comes out and falls in there.
Yeah. That is grimy. Holy cow. We're just about done with all the rough work, and I gotta say, this is really cool. This is a hydraulic X-axis, but the Y is servo-fed, and God, it's really smooth and really fast. You can see how it accelerates and decelerates to come in very consistent, and you've got your fine adjust of 50 millionths on Y as well. I guess if you were machining or grinding up to a ledge or a wall or something. Time to dress her. So obviously keep the diamond left of center in case you come down, won't shatter your wheel. So Paul was saying he knew time to dress it because just starting to get some streakiness here, and that's okay because this is just kind of the rough grind. So we finish that up, and now we'll get a clean edge on the wheel. There you go. Now hear it. So we're now doing the finish grinding. We dress the wheel. Paul's gonna turn the magnet on. So magnets on. This is really cool though. It's not a CNC grinder, but it actually is an automated grinder, meaning you can program where to start, to go down, to come over, and to come back up, and how much to spark out. So this is the one thing I learned today is how long you let a thing spark out and grind. I did not realize that. So, you know, if you're running a whole plate of something on here, you might let it run for 10, 20, 30 minutes. And that's nice about this is you can be running, you know, another machine here and while this thing does its grind. Interesting. You hear it on the right side. So you're starting to turn the magnet down. How do you know though to not go too little?
Your guess.
Really? Jesus. I guess you're not doing.
The better you got, see, the better contact surface you have.
Yeah. This has got a lot on the chuck.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
The more contact you have, the better off you're going to be.
And you're stepping down a lot less, so you're not biting in as much.
That's right. We're not going to be real aggressive. We're just taking tenths at a time. We just want to get it flat. That's all we're worried about.
Right. Got it. You wouldn't dicum it though to see that?
You can. You know. You can.
I guess how do we know?
Yeah. See, you can take and stop it right now. Now you don't have to dike and glue it. You can just run it off the air. Probably should have done, but you can see it's a little bit of bounce in there, but it's not as tight.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Now you see right here, it's not cleaned up yet.
Right.
It's touching up here, but we could tell that when it was grinding.
You can see the difference. I don't know if it's going to come through on camera, but you can see the difference in grain from the dressed wheel grind, and this is still cutting air, I think.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I mark them like that, and that way you can see if it's grind. I should have done that before we get a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Russian.
Yeah, it's that Saunders guy.
Yeah, look at that.
Now you can see.
Ooh.
Now you can see.
Look at that. That's crazy.
Where it's not grinding, where it is.
It's mesmerizing, the motion of it. So different than a mill.
And now, since we got it turned down, we'll just...
You're going to stand on the right side since we're turning down
I'll stand on the wayward side. And we'll go ahead and grind and grind and grind. Let it spark out.
Cool. What's funny is with grinding, we should be able to get this thing. There's no reason why, if you know what you're doing, that couldn't be within a few tenths parallelism.
Very flat, yeah.
Right.
You can get it very flat if you want to mess with it all.
Right. So scraping really is going to be more about adding in, you know, and look, scraping is really, I think, I'll learn, but for machine tool building where you've got flaking for pockets of oil.
That's right, lubrication.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe I got it. Maybe we're going to get it. Certainly getting a lot flatter than I had planned on taking it to Keith Rucker's, but that's okay.
You're just trying to get out of some work. You know what? You'd be surprised how long it takes to take a little tiny bit of metal off.
Scraping
By hand.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. It's a 5-day class.
There you go.
So we might be done, but Paul's saying there's a little bit of a wave in it. So you're talking about the...
Yeah, see this line here?
Yeah. Where's that from?
It might be, we need to touch it a little bit more. But it's
Come down and Z.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just a hair.
Just a hair. You think that would show up on a tenths indicator though? No. Yeah, it's way. So
It looks.
I'm gonna scrape it in. We can call it
If you want it,
good.
you can take it off if you want it.
Yeah, let's call it good because we're gonna scrape it in. There's no point.
Okay.
Kind of. You guys heard of Joe blocks? I said I don't know what the heck that is. So Paul
I think that refers to Joe Hansen blocks, and we used to just call them Joe blocks all the time, which is actually gauge blocks.
He wasn't lying. It says Joe blocks on the list. Look, show these things. This is beautiful, though. They're not just gauge blocks. They're
see, you got a hole in here where you can.
So they'll ring together, right?
Yeah, but you can bolt them together.
That's
see,
cool.
they have a special bolt that this set doesn't have in it that you can put in there. It's countersunk.
Yeah. Wow. They're beautiful though, and these are Starrett.
Yeah.
God, Weber, Starrett, LSS. Yep. I mean, they're spectacular. This came up because we were talking about lapping machines.
Yeah. See, and they got these here, so you can set inside mics by taking these.
No
and
way.
Both ends like this.
That's so cool.
You know.
Wow.
You got several different leg styles here. You can get them with 2 of these. See. This is a standard set, probably like the one you have. This has some pieces missing.
Right.
This was a complete set. This is our master set. See, they got the little yellow dots on them.
Huh.
But I don't use these in the shop. I have another set that's a Fowler set.
Yeah,
that I use out here and bang around and all that.
There we go, sparks. Isn't that crazy? Even there you can see it's...
You see a little bit of a wave in it because, see, there's that one there.
Yeah. Hope you guys can see that on camera.
That's what we're trying to take that out. Won't you stop it?
No, you're okay. I'm just kind of catching it with the motion. Now it's even gone there. It's less. That's like proof that every time you pass, you're actually taking a little bit more, even without adjusting the Z.
You see, it's getting the black is just fading a little tiny bit.
God, that's amazing. And you're not really making a spark anymore, but still, there's less of that Sharpie right above the left hole.
Yeah, you're paying attention to the sound as much as you are the spark.
It's nice, yeah. It's one of these nice. The mechanism here is so quiet; it really lets you listen.
So now we can turn the juice on. We can start turning our. It shouldn't do much, really. Okay, we turn the clamping pressure down. And just bring her down a little bit.
Can't do that with toe clamps. So you turned the Y on and now we'll let it spark out?
Yeah, we'll let it spark out and you're done.
Cool. We're done. Awesome. So we'll clean it off here, but then I'll cut the footage here, but we'll go back to my shop. We'll stick this on my not unfortunately lapped in perfect plate, surface plate, but we'll throw an indicator on it and see what she looks like before we head to Georgia. All right, back home. Got a surface gauge here. Link in video description to this stuff. We'll throw an indicator in. This is my Mitutoyo 10s you've seen me use before. So I recommend buying a surface gauge. Used is fine, eBay, but get one that's got the pins that you can push through, and that's gonna let me use this and run this along my plate to check our part. Now, a couple caveats. This granite plate has not been checked ever. I'm sure it's out. It's just a question of how much. And this isn't the perfect setup. I can feel a little bit, and this is, along as I slide this along, and this is a tenths indicator, so stupid precise. 1/10. 24 inches too. Look at that. 0. Or just not -1/10, -2/10. There we go. Look at that. So again, thank you to Paul from D-Bolt Machine. Thank you guys. This was not a fun journey at the beginning. I definitely didn't feel like I didn't do the right thing. We had bad speeds and feeds on the cast iron. On the Bridgeport, a bad setup, just maybe rushing, maybe just not getting your homework done. So now I'm really excited. Now this thing is really cool to me. I am super excited to turn this into an incredibly useful, tool that I'm going to take a lot of pride in owning and having made, or made with others' helps, but that's what it's all about. So folks, thank you for watching. More to come on this scraping class. Take care. See you soon.